All right. You go back and look at the tape. I'll start with the defensive side of the ball. I thought, defensively, we were in position throughout the entire game. There was only a couple of calls there that we felt like we had guys out of position. The biggest factor for us defensively the other day was just missed tackles. There were plenty of opportunities to get off the field, and we missed some tackles. We had guys in place where they were supposed to be. So our guys did a great job with their eye discipline and just being disciplined on their jobs, throughout the game. We just had too many missed tackles, and a lot of those ended up being explosive plays for us. Offensively, just a lack of execution. And like I've said before, it's not one guy here. It is one guy here, and then on the next play it's somebody else. And what I mean by lack of execution, it's just, it would be different if on each of these plays we're outnumbered and we can't block the people that are there. But it's more of not being outnumbered and just doing your job and executing your job. And somebody's breaking down on most of these plays. Offensively, you have to have everybody on the same page. Everybody's got to get their job done. The majority of the time, if not, you have a breakdown. Usually it's gonna break the play down. And so we've got to get where we're executing better on offense.
What aspect
the
of
lack of execution offensively? I imagine, given the situation with injuries and all that, you can only pare down the offense so much. So what's the challenge of not making it too simplistic while being complex enough to be effective?
Well, it's always, any time you're putting together a game plan, and it doesn't matter whether you got all 11 starters and they're all seniors. I mean, you're always trying to decide how much to do, and you're always trying to figure out, okay, what is the lowest common denominator, and let's don't do more than that being can handle, and for us to be effective. And so, when you start changing out a lot of personnel and you've got multiple issues that you have to deal with, you start paring it down, and then you start thinking, well, we don't have enough, but it doesn't matter. If you don't execute what you have, you're not going to have success anyway.
How limited is your package now compared to what it might normally be if you had a full complement of guys?
I mean, I don't know what that number, there's no number out there. I don't know, it's just, it's limited. It is what it is. I mean, again, you put together, but there's enough in the game plan to be successful. It's not that we're so limited that there's no way we can be successful. It's just execute the plays that are called and against the defense that you see.
How did Chaz grade out?
He was all right. It was not his best game, but it was, he's still progressing. I thought he played, we'd love to have that ball back. He threw on the pick, and he threw a couple others that were, that could have been picked off, and so we got to make sure and keep putting him in positions where he's making good decisions, where, I thought a couple times there, on the interception, there was nowhere to go with the ball, but we've got to learn from that. You don't throw it no matter what. You got to pull it down, and you either take the sack or you get rid of the ball or whatever you got to do, or you take off and run. So, he's still growing. But it was, he played okay.
Do you have to do anything differently with an offense when you have a young quarterback that's got to learn for the long term in addition to what you're doing right now, week to week? Do you have to be more willing to take chances, that teachable moments, so to speak, or do you play it more conservative?
Well, you're trying to never put your team in a position where you're going to make mistakes. So it's not like, let's just go do it and live with the mistakes. It's you're always trying to make sure and do what he can do and what he's comfortable doing.
Is there any difference, I guess, though, the idea of getting, Chaz has got this year, but also beyond that, so you've got to build for the long, make sure long term he's developed. Is there any? Do you handle him any differently than you would in a normal week-to-week quarterback?
Long-term development, that's not a concern at this point. I'm not thinking about down the road with him. All I'm doing is trying to make sure we have a plan in place that he can execute for this week. That's it. I'm not looking at long-term development. Long-term development will come, over the long haul. I mean, over all the banked reps and everything that you get and the things that happen in a game.
How is Chaz's leadership as a redshirt freshman with obviously veterans throughout the offense? And how does that kind of operate? How is he handling that?
Well, I would say right now that Chaz is most of his concerns is about making sure he does what he has to do. You know, as he becomes more comfortable and grows within the offense and things start slowing down for him, then he can worry about what other people are doing, and which will give him the opportunity to lead a lot better.
So who's the leader on the offense in terms of maybe, motivation within the game, things like that?
I would say right now, you got Cam Dillard, who's probably stepped up and has been the guy who's been the most vocal and the guy has done the most.
Last week you used Anthony Ratliff-Williams as an example of a guy stepping up with opportunity. Tyrone Hopper's got a lot more reps the last 2 weeks with opportunity. He got a sack the other day. How has he progressed during this process?
Yeah, I mean, he's really come on. I mean, he's doing a good job, and he's learning a new position. He came in a linebacker. We moved him there in fall camp to defensive end, which is the position we think that he's going to really develop into. And he's growing within that position. He's doing a great job of taking the opportunity that he gets, and when he gets that opportunity, he's making some plays. So I think he's going to be fine.
They only threw 10 times. You guys got 3 sacks the other day. The sacks per game are up a little bit this year. Is that an area that you've seen a lot of growth, especially since Louisville?
Yeah, and especially in a game like that where you're not going to use pressure, to get those front, those guys up front are going to be the ones that do it in that type of game. You're not going to, blitz and pressure an option football team. So, I think that our guys are getting better in those areas. And then when we do and we're able to pressure, they feel more comfortable and they're getting home.
Is that the area, or is there another area that's progressed the most since Louisville on that side of the ball?
I'd say that'd be it. That and communication.
How much can you take away on defense? Like, you play well in the first half. When it's against Georgia Tech, they run a completely different offense than you're going to see the rest of the season. What can you take away from that effort?
Well, I mean, the guys are executing the game plan. That's the thing. So, and throughout that game, there's a lot of communication that goes on in that game based on splits and the personnel they have on the field and the alignments. And so those guys have to do a lot of tendencing out, knowing what's going to happen, and trying to project what's going to happen. And they're doing a good job of communicating that to each other.
Larry, Jordan Brown's receiving ability, is that somewhat of a surprise he's been that effective catching out of the backfield?
No, not at all. I mean, he's really both those guys can catch the ball really well. And, it's something that we've wanted to be able to do is to utilize those backs. It's, and some of those are check downs that the quarterback knows, if it's not all there, I can check it down the back and he's got a chance to make a play, if I give him a good ball. And so, and that's what Jordan's doing.
Obviously, a big opponent coming in on Saturday, Notre Dame, become a national team. What does that kind of do for your program to host a team like the Irish? Expectations in terms of fans, things like that?
Oh, I'm sure our fans love it, and it'll be great for Chapel Hill, and it's good for everybody. I mean, it's for us, it's the next game, and we've got so much to worry about within ourselves right now, just making sure we're right as far, so we don't have a lot of time to spend thinking about who our opponent is or what our opponent is. But I mean, they're traditionally a great program, and everybody knows that. It's a great opportunity for our team. It's a great opportunity for our team. I mean, to have them coming here, they're ranked, 14th in the country, I think, or something, 16th, whatever it is. And very well coached and playing really well. Running the ball really, really good, and play action pass and throwing the ball when they need to. So, defensively, their front seven is as good as anybody we've played.
Have you coached against Brian Kelly before? At any level?
Yeah, I believe I have, yeah.
Last time we played there,
Yeah, we played there.
no, 14.
Played there a few years ago.
That was a stupid question.
I thought it was a trick question. I was like,
I didn't cover the team back then.
yeah, I was like, man,
Highest scoring game of the day.
Made you think, right?
Yeah, you did. You made me think.
How does Michael Carter come along?
He's doing fine.
I mean, he had such a big opener
Yeah.
And, you know, it's been a little bit quieter, but it's a young guy, first time around.
Again, you know, it's every rep is a learned experience for him. You know, every rep that Jordan Brown gets in the game is a learned experience for Michael. You know, and he's doing fine. I mean, he's progressing. He's getting better. You know, Jordan is probably, because of his experience and the plays that he's been making, he's getting the majority of the reps now. But that's not. I mean, that doesn't mean that Michael's not going to play or any of those things. I mean, he's gonna get his opportunities, and the guy that's got the hot hand, the guy that's making plays, that's the guy that's going to get the reps.
Do you have a mentor or a friend in the business outside of this program that you kind of call on every once in a while to run things by? And have you, given the uniqueness of what you're dealing with?
Never. I don't really talk to people during the season, but in the off season, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that I call. I mean, anybody that's had success, anybody that's dealt with types of adversity. I always like to find out what they're doing, why they did it the way they did it. It doesn't matter what the issues are, but during the season, I don't have enough time to call and talk to people, and they don't have time to talk to me either.
Mitch Trubisky was announced. It's reported he's going to start the next game. Have you talked to him at all since he's been in the NFL?
Oh yeah.
Or
yeah.
since the season started? For that?
Yeah, I've talked to him, but I mean, I haven't talked to him since they announced he's going to be the starter. He's been wanting to be the starter since the day he left here. You know. I mean, and so I'm sure he's excited. I'm sure, you know, I got a feeling who he'll be. He'll be Mitch Trubisky. He'll be the same level-headed guy that he always is. He'll prepare himself, and he'll be ready to go.
You go watch on Sunday? Monday?
The time's the game.
8:30.
I'll be game planning, so probably not.
Notre Dame's been pretty productive on offense. What do they do that presents a challenge?
Well, they run the ball. I mean, they find ways to run the football, and they've been very effective running the ball. So they've got to be doing a great job up front. Running backs have been very, very productive. You know, so and that quarterback can run.
Yeah.
I mean, he's he's a guy that can he's a big guy that can run, and so they're going to run the football and play action passion.
All right, thank you, folks.
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you much.
Bet.